everyone, and welcome back to Art a la Carte. Today's video is a draw with me, and we're going to create imaginary creatures. The fun part about creating creatures that don't exist in real life is designing them. I love designing things. But the foundations of the drawing itself is the same as if you're drawing something from life. Like if you're going to draw a dog or you're going to draw a foozle, whatever that is, you'd start off the same way, and that's by building it up with your shapes. So I'm going to use a kind of a bean shape for the body. I use 2 circles to kind of help create that. There's the body. You could use just a regular circle if you wanted to, but I find a bean shape is such a great shape. Ugh. It's so good. It adds so much life. It's just, I mean, if you take this shape as opposed to this shape, just see how much more character is in the bean. The bean is awesome. So let's move the bean. Let's move the drawing, actually. I'm going to scooch this drawing down because I drew my bean too tall. All right. Now what I want to do, so this is the body. Here's the chest. Here's kind of the rump area. So we got the chest. Oh, I got the rump. And then I'm going to bring it up for its head. So I'm going to bring up some lines here, and we can change everything. This is just, we're just sketching out some ideas here, and I'm going to go ahead and put in another circle shape for the head. If you're drawing traditionally, it's a great idea to use a pencil. That way you can erase things. Also, drawing lightly really helps. If you have a strong pressure in your hand, that can be hard to erase those lines. If you're drawing digitally, don't have to worry about that too much because you can really erase just about anything. Character there so far, not looking like much. We have a little head here. We got a little bean shape. So let's put in his little leg. So I want to put one leg. Let's have him sitting. So I'm going to have, here's like his little leg right there and a leg right there. You'll see what I'm doing in just a second here. There we go. So here's his foot. Here's one foot. Here's the other foot. And this is kind of his knee coming up and around. Let me use a different color so you can see it a little bit better. So it kind of comes up and around. So that's this line right here. But it's coming up and around. So you're not going to see any of that or any of that. So you see how I got that shape there? Now, I still don't know anything about my character. I don't know where it lives or what it eats or what its, personality is. I just know he's really cute. I'm thinking he needs a tail though. So let's draw kind of a nice S-shaped line here, and I'm going to have it be thicker at the bottom. Use that S shape kind of as a guideline. Like the bone, the tailbone, and then I can kind of thicken it up a little bit as I go. Just like that. There we go. So there's a fun little S shape. Let me darken that line in just a little bit so I can see it. So at the very beginning of my drawings, when I'm creating a character, I keep everything really loose and messy. I'm not trying to commit to a line or to a specific design. I'm more trying to get the shape of everything. If you start off with your detailed line first and you're drawing this really great eye and it's just got all the details in it, and you're like, oh, it's the best eye I've ever drawn in the world. And then you start drawing the head and the head isn't looking right. But if you erase the head, it might mess up your eye. Sometimes you're willing to just settle and you're like, I'll keep the good eye and just deal with the wonky head. Where if you start off with this first, just getting the shape in here before you start committing to your details and all the fun stuff, then if you're like, yeah, it's looking a little wonky, you're more apt to want to go ahead and fix that, and you'll end up with a better result if you're willing to do that. All right, now I'm going to start making some decisions here, but before I do, I'm going to do what I call a flip. So On digital, it's really easy. There's just a key button that I push and it flips the image. And what that does is my eye is really used to seeing this image and it's not seeing any wonkiness. So if I flip it, I might go, oh, you know what, that foot, just maybe it's a little bit too big, or maybe I need to make this one a little bit bigger. And I can fix those things. If you're drawing traditionally, it's a little harder to do a flip, but here's a trick. If you have a mirror in the house, hold it up to a mirror and that'll flip it for you. Or just set your paper up and stand back away from it, and even just the distance will help your eyes to be able to see if there's anything a little bit wonky. So far I like everything. He's kind of looking like a little dinosaur. Like a little happy T-Rex. And I'm so tempted to turn him into a little T-Rex because he just looks like he wants to play. And don't we all need a little baby T-Rex? I'm so tempted. Anyway, let's pick an animal that we can base him off of other than a T-Rex. And so let's go with a fennel fox. I don't know if you guys have ever seen fennel foxes, but they have these really big ears, and I just think he would look cute with some big ears. So I'm going to bring off this ear shape and I want to connect it to his head. So I'm not just drawing it straight off his head. Like sometimes when we are first learning to draw like cats or animals, we just attach a shape on top of their head, and that's great to start off with. But if you want to level up, let's try attaching that ear to his head. So I'm having the front part kind of wrap in around, so it's going to wrap in right here. And then the other part is going to come in behind. See how that now is connected? So I've done one ear. Obviously, I probably want to do 2 ears. Of course, this is our own creature. He could just be a one-eared creature, you know. But I'm going to go ahead and put in the similar shape. Because of the overlapping, you won't see as much of it. But what I'll do is I'm going to sketch really lightly, and you'll see I'll come up through the head shape. It just helps me to see if that was connecting up there, how it would look. But really the lines I'm focusing on are these two lines right here. This one and this one. Oh, he's looking cute. Oh my goodness, he's so cute. Alright, so there we have the ears. He's kind of a sad fennel fox ear, but he's kind of droopy. Now we have to kind of come up with kind of the head structure. So for this, I'm going to do, because I have a lot of dark lines in here that I don't necessarily want to erase right now. So this is a trick that you can do easily if you're drawing digitally, and that's to lower the opacity to this layer. So lowering your opacity makes your drawing lighter, and then I'm going to put a layer on top of that. Now, if you're drawing traditionally, you just got to plow through and keep working at it, or you can put a piece of tracing paper over top of it. But this allows me to try out a couple of different ideas without messing up any of my original lines. So for the first one, I'm going to bring his head down to kind of a bit of a point. See if I like that. And I'm just kind of do a quick mock-up of what his face might look like until I find one that I like. So there's that one, which is okay. I'm going to put that layer over to the side. What if I want to keep his nice tall head? Give him a nose over here. Maybe more of like a dog face. Yeah, I'm not liking that one so much. I mean, it's alright, but what if I give him a tiny little nose, kind of fluff out his cheeks a little bit. And then give him some nice big eyes. So maybe his neck is a little too thick, maybe. Let's try to see what it would look like if I thinned it down. So I'm just giving myself lots of options. Try not to commit to one design too quickly, or even if you have a design that you really like at the beginning, test some different ones out, because you might think, oh, okay, I really like these ears, but let's try a couple different things with the body. Maybe give him some horns. Let's see what that makes me think. So I like his eyes. I'm not sure I like the horns yet. So maybe he just needs some fur patterns to kind of bring this in connection with the rest of his body. So let's try some fur patterning. I don't know, he's looking rather shocked. Let me fix his eyeballs. Sometimes if you give them really tiny pupils, they look kind of a little too serious. So we'll give him some large pupils. I think that fixes that problem up. There we go. Okay, now he's starting to look a little bit cuter. I mean, he was pretty cute. We'll give him some little eye ridges. Maybe I need to fix in his bottom legs. So let's bring in his... Oh, he looks like he's wanting to be adopted. Like, wouldn't it be awesome if there was like a little... Adopt these dragon furry creatures. Oh man. I love volunteering at my local animal shelter, but it is so hard when you go out there and all the animals are just giving you the look. They want to be adopted. Yep, this is, oh my goodness. The cuteness in this is insane. Flowing the lower half of his body is, and then these legs here are really like straight. So let's fix those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the opacity. Again, not that much. I'm going to change my color up a little bit so that I have a different shade. And then I'm going to just work on the shoulders a little bit more. Sometimes it takes you a couple of times before you can get. So I'm going to overlap that back leg around there. And I think I see what my problem is. What would really fix this is that my head in proportion to my body is a little bit small. So I'm going to enlarge that in a little bit here. I think those are going to work, but let me work on the head here. So I'm going to, again, this is something a lot easier to do in digital art than it is traditional. So I'm going to lasso his head, and I've selected both layers that I've drawn on, and then I'm going to just enlarge it a little bit, bring it on down there. Now you see his neck is kind of burging in there. I can clean that up later. But see how that in proportion is, for me, it's just working. I like that. Okay. So now I can go back in here and kind of clean up some of those lines. There we go. Okay. Oh, goodness. Does he need to be a sticker? I don't know. Let's go ahead and bring up the opacity of all my layers again. And then for this one, I think I can go back in with my eraser and start erasing out this back part here. I didn't erase too much of his ears. There we go. So we just get that sketch just the way we like it. So a lot of things that went into making this guy work is getting a good flow, building up our shapes, and then working on that overlapping. And that really helped with his arm. I needed to tuck that arm in back behind the rest of his body, and that just helped. And then size proportion. Especially when you're drawing something that you've never seen before and you're making it up, you can change those things around a little bit. Well, he's looking adorable. Okay, so now that I have my sketch the way I like it, I'm going to go ahead and, what I'm doing is I'm merging all of these layers together. So this was originally 3 layers, and now it's 1 layer. And I'm going to bring down my opacity again. I'm going to bring in a new layer, and now I'm going to start inking them in. So we can decide, do we want our ink lines to be like an actual pen line, like that? Or do we want to keep it a sketchy pencil line, which is pretty cute. I actually have been more into having a finished pencil line than ink. I just think it gives it a softer look. I like it a lot better. So for those of you who are wondering, I'm using Clip Studio Paint to draw with. There are so many different softwares out there. Depending on what you're using, they all will have slightly different variations of their tools. Most work generally the same way. But if you're using Clip Studio Paint or like, I want that pencil, I'm actually using just the real pencil tool. I have downloaded some different tools, but I find that I like the look of this one the very best. So play around with what tools you have and see which one works great for you. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this guy in. The inking process takes a long time for me because I will go back and fix lines and change things. And it's a process I really focus on a lot. So it's really hard for me to talk while I'm inking in because I kind of get myself into the zone and then I forget to talk. And if I try to talk, then I tend not to make a lot of sense. So I will spare you guys the enjoyment of listening to me trying to word language English while drawing. But if you're interested in, I will post a picture of what this looked like at the end. But if you're interested in getting a digital download for this, this is going to actually be a free download that I'll have over on my Patreon page. You don't have to support me on Patreon to get this. It's just where I'm going to be placing it. But if you're interested in finding out some other things that I'm doing, check out my Patreon page. I have a comic book that I'm slowly working on. My patrons are very patient with me. But every month they get free exclusive digital line art or behind the scenes stuff. Anyway guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoy designing creatures as much as I do. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'm going to go, so thank you so much. God bless you guys. Keep drawing, being creative, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.